Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Toronto Sign Wrap Unveiling. This is a beautiful, cool morning, perfect morning. I wish there was more sun, but here we are. So, to adhere to the COVID social distance protocol, most of you are joining us via the city's YouTube channel. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. And before I go any further, I must acknowledge the land that we're standing on as the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credits, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, Haudenosaunee, the Wendat peoples, and now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. I also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credits. We are mindful of broken covenants, and we each have a responsibility to strive to make this right with the land and with each other. I am tremendously excited about this moment and the sincere intention of the official City of Toronto ceremony to honor the International Decade for People of African Descent. As an African descendant, it is only appropriate that I pay tribute to the descendants of Africa. Many of us who have come here as settlers, immigrants, newcomers in this generation or generations past. I would like to also acknowledge those of us who came here forcibly, particularly as a result of the transatlantic slave trade. I honor and pay tribute to the ancestors of African origin and descent. This moment is for you. Last year, March 25th, 2019, on the International Decade of Remembrance of the Victims of Slavery and the Transatlantic Slave Trade, the City of Toronto acknowledged the International Decade for People of African Descent. And today, the unveiling of the Toronto Sign Wrap is a further magnifying of the city's effort to encourage broad-based acknowledgement and commitment to this decade. So it gives me great pleasure to invite our leader, the Mayor of Toronto, to the podium. Welcome, Mayor John Tory.
Well, Ananina, thank you very much, and good morning to one and all. And I want to say thank you to everybody for joining us for what I think is going to be a very exciting and I hope also a meaningful reveal. I am pleased to be joined by Deputy Mayor Michael Thompson, who's also the chair of the Economic and Community Development Committee, and it's under that committee and that department that we've had such great work done by everybody involved, designers, constructors, funders, and everybody else to make this happen today. And Danilo McCallum, a multidisciplinary artist and graphic designer and curator. He is here today, and he is responsible for the wrap that we're going to talk about today. And so to those two in particular, a very warm welcome to Nathan Phillips Square on what is a very special day. So this morning, live from Nathan Phillips Square and in front of our wonderful City Hall, we are ready to unveil the new Toronto sign. In fact, I sit in my office and I've been watching them take down the old one and put up the new one, so I guess it's already unveiled, but we're going to pull the ribbon off, but people can see that it is there, and it's going to be bigger and better. Well, it's not bigger, it's about the same size, but it's better than ever. You know, we didn't know when the temporary sign was installed for the Pan American Parapan Games that this Toronto sign would quickly become one of the most beloved sites in the city. It is the third most visited attraction in the city and an iconic part of our city. It's seen here, of course, on the media virtually every day, and it's seen around the world on a very frequent basis. The sign at that time when it was put in 2015 was meant to last for weeks, for the duration essentially of the Pan American Parapan Games. We made it last for 5 years, but it was quite a task to do that because it wasn't built to last. So last year, we took the decision, which I believe strongly was the right decision. We ordered a new sign, and it's the one that you see here today. And if you think it looks much like the old one, that was the idea. When something's working, you try to leave it alone. And this was something where we made it more durable. It has newer technology in it. It has a very important new skin on it that we're going to talk about today, a wrap, but it's basically the same good old Toronto sign that people love. And why is it important to keep these things going? Not just because it's an attraction that people visit from here and from around the world, but I think it's brought a sense of joy to people. It makes them smile. It makes them proud. And I think it is something that represents a bit of hope in the midst of a pandemic, that we can have an event like today that is something that is a positive thing for today, but it's also a place we know people will gather around for many, many years to come, when hopefully the pandemic is a distant memory. It's going to be the same place it has been for the whole time it's been here, which is a place where we recognize and celebrate milestones and accomplishments, and sometimes things that are sad and tragic in the world. But it's a place where people know they can turn to the sign and know that it is reflecting the thoughts and the spirits and the hopes and the sorrows of people in this city. And as a matter of interest, today it will be colored blue for a good part of the day in honor of our frontline workers, which has been kind of the default color for much of the time during the pandemic. But it will also be purple for some part of the day in honor of big brothers and big sisters whose day it is today. One of the design features of the Toronto sign in the past, and I'm not sure how much it was recognized, but I think we're going to increasingly try to make sure it is more recognized, is the wrap, the vinyl wrap on the outer edges of the letter. And this is not only something that can help to preserve the sign, but it's also something that can be an artistic and decorative feature. The updating of the wrap is done about every 12 months, and so it gives us a new opportunity every 12 months to highlight something else that we think is important. We've used it to promote events, to promote projects, to promote city priorities. It's included wraps for the Parapan and Pan Am Games, for Nuit Blanche, for Toronto neighborhoods, for Canada 150, and for Indigenous images and symbols. And so it's an important place where we can register an important message. And of course, it's a message that's seen, yes, through the media when the Toronto sign is shown, but even more importantly, in a way, it's seen by all the people that come to visit the sign, thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people. And I think to really reinforce the point that Ananina made, if we can get thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people to ask some questions about the decade of in honor of people of African descent, I think this will be a very valuable tool in our challenge, our significant challenge of educating people about the past and about some of the challenges that rest in front of us in the future. And I think that the wrap that we're unveiling today, and we will have the artist say some words about that in a moment, is important because it reminds us, and it will serve as an educational tool, an awareness tool for all of us on one of the most important challenges facing our city at this point in its history. And of course, we're not alone in Toronto, but let's focus on our own challenge here in our own city. So I'm pleased to announce that in recognition of the United Nations International Decade for People of African Descent, the first wrap on the new Toronto sign will be something that is called Patterns of the People. In October, the city's Confronting Anti-Black Racism unit, the first of its kind in North America when it was formed, issued a call for artists to submit their proposals for this first wrap, and Danilo McCallum, his design, Patterns of the People, was selected by a community jury, and he's going to have something more to say about that in a moment or two. But as you will see, when you get a chance to be up close, the design features African fabric prints, African symbols, and representation of people of African descent. The work is a powerful tribute to Black communities in Toronto and to the African and Caribbean diaspora, which call Toronto home. And I will just say I think it as well will serve as a powerful reminder of challenges that are in front of us each and every day that we must meet and that we're committed to meeting as a city council, and as a people. It's a powerful demonstration, I hope, of our deep commitment to confronting anti-Black racism and to bringing about the systemic changes that we have to make with the support of our Confronting Anti-Black Racism unit, and with the support, I might add, of a very broad community consensus at this point in our history in 2020. The wrap is symbolic, and it's a form of artistic expression. But at the same time, it also represents the most visible possible call to ourselves and to other Toronto institutions and organizations and residents to commit to acknowledging the International Decade for People of African Descent in real and tangible ways. Let's take this inspiration, let's take this artistic symbol and use it to inspire us to take on some of the issues of systemic anti-Black racism in our city. We have to commit to ensuring that we are a city of respect and of equality of opportunity, free of racism and discrimination of all kinds. And so I encourage people to take inspiration from the installation of the new Toronto sign and this very important wrap that you'll hear more about, to find ways to do something tangible and lasting in the remaining years of what was a decade that was declared in honor of people of African descent. Find something that we can do that is representing of sustainable and long-term change for our black communities right here in Toronto and for people of African descent around the world. So I want to thank Danilo McCallum for his incredible contribution, for his work, for his artistry, and through you to pay tribute to all the people in Toronto who are artists. They're struggling right now, and it's been a very bad time during the pandemic, as it has been for many. But your work is going to remain on the Toronto sign through our year of public art. It is going to be a very important example of public art in the city that probably as many people will see as any other that happens during the course of that year. And I know that the residents of the city and tourists alike will enjoy this artwork, and I encourage people to come to Nathan Phillips Square, as you have so often, to see this new sign, but to see the artwork in particular. I want to remind people that while we do encourage you to come to City Hall and to come to Nathan Phillips Square and see the sign and see the wrap, that we encourage you to do so. It is outdoors, so that helps, to do it within the public health guidelines that we have put forward. Keep your distance from others, avoid large crowd scenes, even if it's on a big square like this, and please wear your face covering. Sometimes it's easier just to leave the face covering on at all times, or most of the time, rather than determine whether you're in a place where you need to or not. So I will now, with thanks, if I can, last word to our city staff. You know, the team that's in economic development and culture, I forget all the names of all these different departments. I think it's called community development as well, but they do a fantastic job for us. They have a myriad of programs, including we launched a big art TO this week, which is a fantastic program that people should go see at 25 different places around the city. But I want to thank them and introduce their leader from among the ranks of elected representatives, our Deputy Mayor, Michael Thompson.
Thank you very much, and good morning. Thank you very much, Mayor Tory, and certainly thank you for your leadership. It was you who established the Confronting Anti-Black Racism Unit to do the very work that's actually being done now, and I think that your leadership on this has paid dividends for us as a great city as we move forward to respond to some of the many challenges that we face in our city. In just a few short years, the Toronto sign has become an iconic Toronto attraction, and the mayor has alluded to that. And what started out as a very temporary installation for the Pan Am Games is now an essential spot for selfies and group photos for residents and, of course, visitors alike. We have, in fact, illuminated and dimmed the signs for hundreds of charities, community festivals, days of celebrations, and times of mourning for our city over the past 5 years. The new and improved Toronto sign that we are unveiling here today will take the sign to the next level. It will be easier to clean. It will, in fact, be waterproof and have enhanced lighting capacity. I'm extremely excited of the fact that we're launching the sign with new graphics, the new graphic wrap that celebrates and honors the United Nations International Decade for People of African Descent. The decade was established to remind the world that people of African descent are in fact a distinct group whose human rights must be protected, promoted, and in fact honored. The UN's goal for the decade are to bring recognition, justice, and development to the people of Africa and the African diaspora. These goals are in fact perfectly aligned with Toronto's commitment to fairness, justice, and empowerment for our Black communities. Working with the city's Confronting Anti-Black Racism Unit, the city is implementing a comprehensive action plan to make the systemic changes needed to eliminate anti-Black racism in Toronto. This is a unique opportunity for us to show the world that the diversity that we speak of and live in every single day isn't simply about a conversation. It is about a focus and effort designed to address the issues that many Blacks face in this city on a daily basis. And we must recognize that efforts is actually being made to ensure that we address this issue. It is fundamental that we address this issue. It has such an impact on the Black community. Mentally, it has a physical impact, it has economic impact. And this city and the leadership of this city is working very hard to address this issue. It's fundamentally important that we address the issue of anti-Black racism in this city, which is real And we recognize that in order to change or to address any fundamental challenges that we have in our society, we must first recognize and understand the reality and accept that it is in order to bring about changes. The pattern of the people wrap on the new Toronto sign expresses our recognition that past failures and current inequities must be rectified. We will move forward during the International Decade for People of African Descent with critical investments, systemic changes, and an expanded openness to the voices and experiences of the Black communities. Are you going to introduce Mr. McCallum? Okay. And I would simply, I note that my note says that I would invite Mr. McCallum, but I know we have an amazing MC. No, I'm going to let you do it because I think it's really important. And Anita Grant introduced Mr. McCallum. I just simply wanted to say, and as the mayor has already done, paid great respect to the staff from EDC. Led by Mike Williams and all the amazing people who have worked to make this possible. I want to thank them for the work that they do on a daily basis. Most Torontonians will not recognize the work that they do, apart from the fact that they come to see the sign, for example, but they work really hard, particularly in the pandemic period. I want to thank the staff for their leadership, their professionalism, and so on. And Anita, I'm going to turn it back over to you to introduce Mr. McCallum.
As both Deputy Mayor Thompson and Mayor Tory mentioned, this is a crucial time. We are in crucial time in history for the advancement of racial justice globally. So this sign wrap is a significant statement and a call to action by the City of Toronto. It is with great pride and honor that I introduce not only the artist, not only the designer of the sign, but also the graphic artist of the sign, for this International Decade for People of African Descent. Danilo McCallum, often known as Delexo, is a Toronto-based multidisciplinary artist, graphic designer, and curator whose practice is deeply rooted in the art movement known as Afrofuturism. For information on Danilo Delexo, please visit the Toronto sign. But without further ado, I want to welcome what I am going to call the person of the hour this morning. Danilo, please take the podium. Welcome.
Greetings, Toronto, from one of the many voices of the Black arts community. I'd first like to start just by again acknowledging the Indigenous people, the land that we're on today, all of us. My name is Danilo Deluxo Andres Melendez McDowell McCallum, and I had the honor of creating the artwork for our brand new Toronto sign. As a Torontonian, I'm proud that the City of Toronto chose to recognize and feature Black people and a Black artist's work on the new sign. As a global city, I feel that this shows leadership, and it sends a reminder that all of us should hold the city accountable in the face of injustices and in creating equity, especially in these times. Now, I could discuss details about the sign for ages. I don't have that much time, so there's just a couple of things that I wanted to share with you today. For this project, I chose to explore textile patterns as a way to represent people of African descent. Whether our families are from the continent or from the diaspora or the Caribbean, as my parents are. My mother is a brilliant, proud Jamaican woman who instilled an importance in heritage. And so in my home growing up, as well as in the homes of my aunties and uncles and various other family friends, I saw a lot of different versions of these African fabric patterns, and it gave me a sense of pride in culture. The design I created is multi-layered, multi-dimensional, as our community is. And my aim simply was to capture our brilliance, our boldness, and our beauty as Black people. As you'll see when you come down and visit, I created an experience with two different views, actually. One When you're viewing the sign from the west side, you'll see the rising sun, warmer colors, organic shapes. From the second viewpoint, when you're looking at it from the east, it's cooler colors and more geometric patterns. Woven into those fabrics are symbols like the Sankofa bird, the talking drum, and the black fist. And finally, portraiture was important, as I believe that visible representation matters. As we've all seen with the global Black Lives Matter movement, we still have a lot of work to do, and we're going to keep doing it for equity and justice, against anti-Black racism, against police brutality, and for us to see meaningful change and equal opportunities. We will have to see a shift in the power dynamic across the board. While I am here, I do want to give a couple of thank yous. Thank you to Ainania and the CABR unit confronting anti-Black racism. To my mother, to Mom, my strong pops and international family, my loving wife and partner, Latifa, XYZ, and my entire supportive crew and peoples. Thank you for holding me down and raising me up. Of course, shouts to Mayor John Tory, Deputy Mayor Michael Thompson. Thank you, to EDC, and the International Decade of People of African Descent. In closing, I just want to, of course, give shouts to all my Afrofuturists and Black creatives expanding the standards of what it means to be Black. Our community has contributed so much to the fabric of this city and the country, and I hope that we celebrate this as one of those victories, as we are Toronto. It's an honor. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you all very much for coming out, and we're going to go down, I think, and pull a ribbon or something.